So the one thing is you want to look at it as you want to look at a relationship as something else that isn't that thin. If you look at it as a bondage, what is bonding it together? What is the bondage made of? Is it made of, rubber? It might take a little bit more effort um, to pull apart, but is it bendable? Is it made of steel where it's not very much, it's a strong bond. It is going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take something that is, depending on how big you think it is, as far as the bondage, it's going to take a lot of effort to either damage it or to throw it away. Then you have to think about what the value of it is, because with things like that, we're able to throw it away without much care. But if you look at it as, a bar of gold or, a ring or something in that instance, a lot of people aren't going to throw it away because it's valuable. If it's priceless, it can never be thrown away. It can never really be given away because it holds so much value to you, to where no matter what happens to it, you're going to treat it with. No matter what happens to it, you're going to hold on to it. You're going to try to uh, make it back to the shape or whatever it is that it was originally at. You're going to do whatever you can because it holds so much value to you. You're going to try to hold it to where it doesn't get damaged in that type of way, to where it's not in the same shape that you knew it to be in. When you look at a relationship as a house, you got to think about things that happen within the house. Now you got to think about how much you're willing to fix the things that happen, you know, as far as damaging the house. If a window gets broken, how willing are you to fix that window? If a pipe busts inside of the house, how willing are you to get that pipe fixed? If the water floods in, how much are you willing to, get everything done to where it's back into shape, or are you willing to let the stuff just dwindle on and hope that somebody stays with you in the wintertime with a window bust? Are you hoping that, with water leaking in the basement, is everybody going to be all right? Is everybody going to want to stay there in that condition? Once a house is really, really damaged, you know, you got two choices: to either stay there and, hope that everything will be all right, or you can, rebuild it to where it stands stronger and it's in a better mode. Once a house is really, really damaged to where it can't stand, you have to rebuild it up from the ground up. And it's just how willing are you to rebuild it to make it better. Sometimes it is better to rebuild a house in a different place, on a different foundation, so that you're able to stand. But you got to know what you're building your house on. You got to, if you want it to last, because a lot of people just don't want to jump into relationships to end it and to be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to move on to the next one. I don't think there's a lot of people that want to keep doing it. Like, oh, I'm fine with it just being like one 1 year, or for every 5 years I'm going to get in a new relationship. That's my plan. My plan is every couple of years I'm going to get with somebody, I'm going to break up with them and move on to the next person. I don't think a lot of people want to do that. I just don't think that a lot of people know what they're building their foundation on. How easy is it for you to forgive your partner for the stuff that they're doing? Who's the leader in the house? um, what type of things do you do when problems arise? Are you forgiving? Are you willing to work the problems out? Are you willing to um, go to bed at each other angry? Is the arguments out of hand? What does a person do when they're not? When the situation gets rocky, do you break stuff and expect the other person to fix it, or are you willing to help them fix the problems? That whoever damaged it, it may have been you, it may have been them, but are you willing to help them fix whatever issues that they have. These are the things that you got to know to uh, when you come to a relationship, because a lot of people figure, I'm not the problem, so I don't have to fix these things. I don't have to help them. They have to fix it themselves. And it doesn't work that way if you really want to stay in the relationship. When you don't know how to fix things, that's an understandable way. But when you are figuring that every problem is not yours to do, even when you are the cause of the problem, then it becomes a problem, because now you're looked at as lazy and the other person is putting in 100% of the effort. And they're going to get tired and be like, man, I do so much for this, and I don't receive the help that I feel like I should be getting, and I don't want to be here. And that will hurt you on the end of things, because now you have to look at yourself and say, well, you got to either say, well, dang, I am doing wrong here, or man, you're just going to go back to blame them mode. Or they're not strong enough to be with somebody like me. Or they're not right, because they should have fixed it where we should help at. In the past, I used to have the what I like to call look at this person's theory. Look at this person, look at what they got on, or look at what they do, look at how bad they are doing in life. I'm glad I'm not doing that. And with me having those type of thoughts, it was hard for me to be able to see the faults within myself and fix myself for the situation I wanted to be in, because I was always talking about the faults of someone else's instead of being able to talk about myself. It was like holding the mirror in front of my face, but it's pointed the opposite way. And I feel wrong for the times that I was always trying to fault someone else, or look at someone else's faults and use that as ammo for myself, or use that as a way to not look at my own wrongdoings and fix those. And I took that out of my life, and because the more I started talking about my own problems, the better it was to make myself better. And I feel good about like doing the show, because it's actually like therapy. It's actually helping me with being able to open up with a lot of stuff that I've been through, that I have wrong going within myself, and once I notice these things, I'm able to talk about it, and hope that with me seeing myself, hope that someone else will see themselves and be able to help them. I was in the shelter. I was homeless, and I was in the shelter, and I felt really bad because being in a shelter with like 80, 90 guys, and not everybody's perfect, but we're all in the same situation. So being in there, and you get a smell of somebody's feet, and you're like, oh man, it really stinks in here. But the one thing that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to talk bad about the person. I wanted to help them out. I didn't want to shame them in front of everybody else. I wanted to help them in private. I had more pair of socks than I actually needed. So for me to sit here and to, withhold my socks, thinking that I was going to be perfect, by having 15 pairs of socks and somebody else not having like one or two good pair, was kind of wrong. And it was like a group of guys, and they were sitting here clowning the guy. Man, you should know how, to clean your feet, man, and this and that. And it was in front of the whole room. And it's like, we're all in the same position. To make yourself feel better, you're trying to talk bad about somebody that might have more money than you. They might have a car. They might have a place to go. But they're in this shelter because they want to be away from everybody else or to fix themselves. And here you are trying to make yourself feel better by clowning them, which doesn't help the situation at all. If you would have stepped in them and said, "Hey, man, it's a little funky in here. Let me help you out with a couple pairs of socks if you need it, just to help you out if you need it. I got you. Let me know what you need. If you need soap or whatever, this will probably help." Instead of doing that, in doing that, that helps a person out a lot more than actually using your friends as a laughing using that person as a laughing stock for your friends to make you feel better. And I hated doing that. I used to be roasting with friends and stuff, but I found out what we were actually doing. We didn't know how to communicate with the other person, so we would use that as a type of way to you know let the person know, hey, I don't like this. But the one thing about roasting is that it will make somebody defensive, and they won't fix the problem that they have going on. They'll just try to find a way to out roast you. So uh, in that, it kind of didn't help me being able to communicate with another person about, or listen to a person about what kind of problems that the person is having. Yeah, so one thing I've noticed myself not being able to do is to talk about who's doing what on Facebook. With myself, I don't even like Facebook like that anymore. I mean, I'm not on there as much as I used to be when I was looking for something to talk about and, hoping to make myself feel better about seeing somebody doing some type of stuff that causes drama. It's not worth it anymore. With me wanting to fix myself and me wanting to fix, my family and, you know, um, to help things become better, I don't need to be looking at other people's faults and saying, well, look at them, or this is not normal. I need to be looking at myself and saying, this is what I need to do to make myself better or to make, the family happy. This is what I need to do to be able to make the relationship better and last longer. With all this information, it basically is a thanks to God for, you know, um, taking the things out of my life that I don't need. Sometimes removing the people that I need to remove from my life for a second. I don't need to remove them totally, but I need to, back them up for a second so that I can make myself better, so that when I come back to them, as far as being who I am, I can either show them how to do, or be able to have a better relationship with them where I'm not the same person that I was the last time. One thing I am learning is how to resist temptations. You know, Going back to the old me is very easy to do. There's a lot of stuff that is very easy to do, and I don't want to go down that road. So the one thing that I'm doing is preparing myself so that when I do get in these situations where I couldn't handle myself the last time, or I didn't know what to do to have a healthier outlook on things or handle them in a certain type of way that would be better for myself and whoever's surrounded in that situation, um, I'm preparing myself. So I know the information. I'm learning what I need to learn. I'm doing the things that I need to do. I'm building a better foundation to stand on so that it's more positive. It's cleaner, um, better outlook on things. I look at myself better. I actually am proud of myself for the way that I'm heading towards. Not for who I am right now, because I could be way better. I don't want to stop where I am right now. I want to get better each and every day in something. So, that's my goal, is to never step backwards on a day, but keep moving forward, to where, you know, the next day is a little bit, is better than the day before. But that's been my time. I don't want to get into too much babbling and babble on and make people bored. But I hope that this was an episode that helped a lot of people out.